Hello, everybody. Happy Monday. This is your Business Reality with CB. And I just want you to know that you're still in May. You can still finish strong. So go and do what you need to do in order to finish the month strong. So today we have an incredible guest. And before we get started, you know what goes next. And we're back with your Business Reality with CB. Welcome back, and I hope you are all doing well and having a glorious week. So today we have Barbara Kamba, an international award winner, is a lifestyle and wellness coach, psychotherapist, intuitive healer, inspirational speaker, best-selling author, Mediator, and child and sport psychologist. Thank you, Barbara, for being here. You have done so much in your community and you've done so much overall as a person. So I just want to be so thankful and letting you know that I appreciate you being here and that I want to meet more women like yourself because you're definitely changing not only your community, but now with this interview, now more people can know about what you do and why you're so special. And today's topic, we're going to be talking about holistic transformation. So tell us a little bit of what is holistic transformation?
Hi, Crystal. Thank you so much for having me. Okay, so holistic transformation is the process of identifying blocks, emotional blocks that may be hindering you from progressing in your business and in your life. And apart from identifying them, then we go through the healing process because any traumatic event that might have happened, any emotional wounding that one may have experienced has a direct and sometimes indirect impact on how they perform, on how they conduct themselves, and how they make decisions. And then at the end of it all, we give you tools to help you step into your power and become the best version of yourself. Hence the holistic transformation.
Which is beautiful because a lot of times in order for us to keep moving forward, or we tell ourselves, why can't I complete this? Or why can't I do a certain thing? Because we already have that block, but we just don't realize that we have that block. What are ways that people can look at and say, oh God, I need some holistic transformation? Like, give me some examples, like lifestyle examples that you see with some of your clients or you see in general with people that are very common.
Things like self-sabotaging, you come up with a brilliant idea, then you start looking at reasons why it's going to fail without even trying or even talking about it to someone else. You just feel, oh, they'll laugh at me, I may not be worthy of this, and sometimes there are opportunities. I once had a client who was saying she gets all these opportunities to apply for maybe funding or scholarships or things like that, and she never, according to her, she says she never applies because she knows she's not gonna get it. And then also you get some generational traumas whereby you discover something runs in the family. People say this happens in our family, it runs in our family. No, we don't do this. We are not successful people. We are not this kind of people. Yet it's because of some generational traumas that were experienced in the past, and they keep being passed down from one generation to the next. And you can have like generational pain and suffering. I'm talking emotional suffering. People are just not aligned. They live in perpetual fear of the unknown. They are afraid. They are always pretending out there. It becomes so much hard work to always pretend to be something. And sometimes it can be seen in how people make choices. It can be relationship choices. You get into one toxic relationship after another, and you attract toxic people. You are also sometimes toxic to the other person.
Right. And then, and then you wonder why you keep ending up with the same kind of people, right? Because you're in a vicious cycle. after a long time, and then you're wondering what's going on. And so, that is, I would say, one of the hardest thing. I mean, we all have a past. We all have, families with cultures, with traditions, right? And and we're not saying that no to the traditions, but, I would say, like, for example, if some of those things, say, for example, let's say, I'm just saying, my mom is Latina. Women should always clean the house, or women should always cook, right? I mean, if you're passing down to your children or your daughters that, let's say, that only women are doing certain things and it's only expected of them to do that, then that's what they're going to teach their children at the end of the day. So if we can break the bond with ourselves as generations come, they will be able to do more of a choices that they want, instead of having all these biases or all these self-conscious kicking in, making decisions for them. So I think it's a beautiful thing what you do for the holistic transformation, because honestly, without that, we don't have anything else. Which goes to my next question. How does a holistic transformation affect a business, right? Especially like as business owner during this time. Give me some examples of things that you've seen recently with some of your clients, or some of the people that you surround yourself, that you see, as a person, they self-sabotage their business.
Oh, I think the COVID era is such a really beautiful example, because that's where we saw people who really needed the holistic transformation, and it really showing out. Like, some things you could just take them online,
Mm-hmm.
and then you get people like who will tell you, no, I want to be in contact with people, I cannot work online, you can't trust the internet. And I'm like, at this age and day, how can you not trust the internet? We literally live on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
And then sometimes you realize people are afraid to make decisions, or they get surrounded, they make bad decisions because of maybe modeling that they got from their nurturers or caregivers. And sometimes people will make bad decisions, like investing wrongly, because they are just following someone. And also sometimes not knowing your own purpose. When I see Crystal doing this, I want to do it. When I see Babs doing something, I just jump on. I don't even think twice to say, how is she doing it? Maybe my passion is this. I need to follow my own passion. Not having direction sometimes. It's like you get something, a business. Let's say you inherit a business, but it's not in you. You don't even know how to run it. And then you just run it down. Within a few years, everything is destroyed. That took maybe years to build. And you wonder, maybe I'm so unlucky. Maybe the ancestors have turned their backs on me. It has nothing to do with that. It's a sign that there's something deep inside that needs to be healed, that needs to be dealt with.
Absolutely. I mean, I see it from a marketing perspective. A lot of times I go in and it has nothing to do with marketing, by the way. A lot of times I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh, no, you just have to change your mindset. You're like you said earlier, you're self-sabotaging yourself. Like, you know, from a logistics point of view, there's only so much we can do for the client, right? We can bring in the clients, but if the owner cannot do the final sell, because they're self-sabotaging themselves at the end of the day, that's not on the logistics part, that's on the owners. They have to do some kind of work. And the interesting part is, because they have been on their business or working on their business for such a long time, that a lot of times they don't see it. They're like, but I've been working like this for such a long time and it has worked. I don't understand why it's not working anymore. Well, either the people around you changed and you haven't changed your thoughts and your ideas and the way that everything's structured. And then that's another thing. So holistic transformation doesn't always necessarily mean that it's from the beginning, right? Like when you're starting a business, oh, let me do holistic transformation. We also need holistic transformation throughout our whole business process, because not only you change, maybe other people change, your business changes, your model, economics change. There's always going to be a kind of change, right? So there's always going to be a new way of kind of adjusting, per se. And also, you're always learning about yourself. Well, you
That's
should,
true.
right? You
Yes.
should. And as a business owner, you have different stages, right? You have the beginning stages, you have the middle stages, and you have there's a bunch of other stages. And a lot of times we can be just tunneling. We just go, we don't see the outside.
Yes.
And when we don't see the outside, we don't see what we're doing. And so the reason why I'm saying this is because I see it a lot. And a lot of times, people wonder why they're not as successful as they should be. And it's just because they're in a different stage, but they're trying to do the same thing as the beginning stage.
Exactly. And also the other thing, like toxic company cultures, there's the unspoken culture. People say, here we do things this way, but maybe it worked like 20 years ago. It can't be applicable today. You have to evolve with the world around you so that you still remain relevant.
Absolutely. And I don't know if you realize, at least from my end over here, people don't like to be treated bad, right? Like with money, we say with honey we get further, right? Doesn't necessarily mean that we can't teach, right? We can definitely teach. And I something that I really want to emphasize for today, for some reason it's coming up today in this conversation, is, as business owners, we have a lot on our shoulder. We have to perform, otherwise the business doesn't perform. Or, if as we have to build the teams, we have to build unity, we have to build the culture, the structure. It just comes with the territory. But one of the things that I keep hearing is like, well, someone so, or the manager, let's just say the manager of the store didn't do a good job. Well, who trained the manager, right?
Yes.
If you, as a business owner, you train the manager and you're complaining about the manager, then you should take a serious look at yourself of how you're training.
Exactly, because you are just complaining about yourself.
Correct, which comes back to the holistic transformation. Maybe we need to do a transformation on you, on how to do training or some service and so forth. And one of the things that's like, I keep hearing, especially here right now, oh, people are lazy, right?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe they're not the right people for you, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's everybody, right? Maybe you're just attracting the wrong people to your job, to whatever you want to do. Comes back to the holistic transformation effect of a business. And like I said earlier, the reason why I keep mentioning is because I go into a lot of these businesses and they're telling me, well, I have issues, right? So I go in as a consultant, I go in and I kind of see what's happening. 80% of the times it's because of the culture of the work. And who is bringing in the culture of the work? It's either business owners or management.
Yes.
We cannot blame the people under, because they look up to management. They look up to the owners. So we need to, as owners and management, we need to look at how we're training, how we're teaching people, how we're talking to people, because our employees are going to be reflective of what we do. From
Absolutely.
a business perspective.
Yes. And I think the other thing, I just want to go back a bit to what you mentioned about like business owners complaining about their employees, that they are lazy and whatnot. Sometimes it's because people are frustrated. They come into a job maybe because they are qualified for something, but because, I don't know, there's a lack of trust. Maybe you've been hurt before and now you want to control everything. You don't give them the freedom to flourish. You don't give them the freedom to express their creativity and show that they are really good at this. and you frustrate them, then in the end they just let you do whatever you want and you complain that they are lazy. If you take the same person and put them in a nurturing environment, they will grow and they actually blossom into something beautiful. Yeah.
It's and it comes back to the a lot of businesses like to control what is happening, what the control, it comes back to the control of the employee, control of the work, control that everything's going to be done. But sometimes we have to give a little faith, right? Sometimes we have to have a little
Yes,
faith that
exactly.
we were able to train the employee good enough for them to go out and do what they need to do without micromanaging, without having to be, on their shoulder at all times, because that's tiring as well. like,
It
and I,
is, imagine. And you get burned out so much and you wonder why this, you are not enjoying your work, or you are not enjoying the fruits of your work because you are tired. You're always doing 1,000 people's work and they are just there. You pay them to do nothing, or to frustrate you because you are not allowing them to grow and to be who they really want to be.
Absolutely. And if you have to keep thinking, I'm doing everything, then maybe you should sit back for a second and see why is it that you feel like you're doing anything? Why do you feel like somebody else is not helping you? And maybe redirect that energy to something more positive and say, okay, maybe I need to retrain, or maybe I just need to give one task at a time and see if they can handle it. And if they can't, maybe I have to train them again. A lot of times it comes back to the training and
Yes.
to the initial training. Did you just make them try to figure it out, or do you generally train them in the area of how you wanted the work, right? Because
Yeah.
one thing is doing work, and another thing is the expectations of somebody. How do you want it to be done? So maybe train them in that way, so you don't have to feel like you have to do everything, and everything's controllable. And it comes back to the mindset, and it comes back to the actions of ourselves in that sense, which leads us to my next question that I loved about what you said. It's like you said, I don't think about it, I just go do it. So something amazing that you've done recently that you have to tell us the story and why you did it, because I think it's beautiful. Tell us about your magazine and why you started it in Zimbabwe.
Yes, my magazine is called Bold Dialogue, and I think a week into the lockdown, we started getting a rise in the number of domestic abuse cases, and people being depressed and stressed and unhappy. And it bothered me, at least for the first week. Then the second week, I was like, you can do something about this. Write a newsletter and just send it around so that people have nuggets on how to navigate this new normal of being at home, working at home, and dealing with abuse, and how they can find help and everything. So it started as as a newsletter. I was writing it like 3 times a week. It was fun. Then it kept growing. That was in April last year. In July, I was like, oh, I now have too much content. I'm making it a magazine, and it just became a magazine. So now it's a magazine, yes, a monthly magazine.
So who receives the magazine?
Uh, the target, like the tagline of the magazine is empowering women from the bedroom to the boardroom, and redefining what the boardroom is for each woman. It's wherever your sphere of influence is. It can be in the home, in the office boardroom, like executive, or whatever, wherever your sphere of influence is. So the target was women. Then I discovered men are actually interested, and they were also saying, we have people we know that you don't know, which makes sense. So I now send to men and women, but my target market is young women, so that they are empowered, they know how to navigate the world, and women in general.
What I like about your magazine is that each woman have a different story.
Yes.
and they have a different view set of what's happening in their life and what and so forth. So it's beautiful because if you read it, you can learn from each person's experience and see what they're doing, what's happening, and how they're surviving, and they're making it, and they're making the best of what they can with the situation. And it's very empowering, and I love that you were able to just go out and start something for your community, for the women in your area. And that speaks very highly about you, and I have a lot of respect for you for doing that. So I am very excited because you do send it to me every month, and I do read it. Actually,
Oh,
I
thank you so much.
I do read it. And so yeah, I'm just beautiful. And we've done magazines before, but they're business magazines, right? But this one is also, it's very powerful women, and I'm glad that men are liking it as well, because there are guys, men out there that are being abused as well, and in different forms and so forth, and maybe they also want to speak their story. So that's
Yeah,
great.
true. And we now have some male contributors as well. Like this pastor, he said he's married to a wife, he's got a daughter, so he needs to contribute and do something positive
For
as
their
a feminist and for his wife and daughter. So it's really beautiful.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for being a true beautiful soul and being here today and telling us about what you do, a little bit of what you do, because you literally do a lot of different stuff. And then you also help a lot of your community, which is very, very good to do. I'm all about community service and helping out, and so if you ever need anything, let me know. And for those of you that are interested in Barbara and anything that she said, or you maybe you just want to get the magazine too to see what's happening in Zimbabwe with the women over there, because they're very powerful women, and just in general good souls. And so here is her website, her Instagram, her LinkedIn. You're more than welcome to reach out to her. Any last few words that you would like to tell the audience?
I believe we all can become better than who we are, and we should aim to be better every day. And we are not competing with anyone. Just set targets for yourselves that yesterday I did this, today I'm going to achieve this. And we embark on holistic transformation. And there's no shame in seeking help when you are feeling overwhelmed or you feel you can't move forward. So let's embrace our need to change and just change and become better people.
Absolutely. Because if we change, we can change another life at a time, and then another generation at a time. And imagine how this world would look like. So there's hope.
Imagine with healed people all around.
Absolutely. Well, God bless, Barbara. I will talk to you soon. Thank you for everything that you have done. Thank you for sharing with us today. And I appreciate you so much. And for everybody that's watching, go ahead and follow her. Reach out to her. She's amazing. She's such down to earth. Barbara is truly, truly amazing. And I will see you all next week with another interesting interview as well. So everybody, please finish the week strong, and God bless, and see you all soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.